Today's fairy tale is an amazing story from Her Stories by Virginia Hamilton, stories of African American folklore centering around Black women and girls, called Catskinella. And you'll see a lot of similarities to some familiar European fairy tales, but it's so special and something all its own. There's a girl named Ella. She's really beautiful, and her dad wants her to marry this woodsman, but she doesn't want to marry him. In fact, she doesn't want to marry anyone yet, so she goes to her godmother named Maddie and says, "Miss Maddie, what do I do?" Maddie tells her to tell her dad to skin a cat and make a dress for her out of the cat skin. Then tell the woodsman to get you a ring for your engagement. This is similar to donkey skin or all kinds of fur. European stories that start kind of the same, with the girl demanding some kind of strange dress from her father, only in those stories it's because the father is trying to marry her. This one is a lot more pleasant because she just doesn't want the woodsman. Well, she didn't think her dad could do it, but he did, so now she doesn't know what to do. She also got the ring from the woodsman, so she goes back to the godmother. Her godmother says, "Prepare to marry the woodsman tomorrow, but put a big mirror in your room and leave it there." So she does, and then she locks the room and climbs out the window. And the mirror is enchanted because every time the father or the woodsman call up like, "Are you ready yet?" the mirror answers back, "No, I'm not ready yet," in her voice. Finally, the dad and the woodsman break down the door, and when they see the mirror with her reflection looking at them, they smash it and it's destroyed. Big red flags there. Glad she avoided both of them. Our girl escapes to another kingdom, and then she gets a job in the palace of the king, and she always wears her cat skin so no one really sees anything but her beautiful face. Because everyone's all weirded out by the cat skin, except the prince. He falls in love with her. As often happens in fairy tales, he starts getting physically ill with love, and he goes to bed and he's like, "Mother, have someone make me a cake with a beautiful hand to comfort me." Like someone beautiful making the cake with their hands, not a hand cake. That could happen in a fairy tale. So all the young women in the kingdom are supposed to bake cakes for the prince, but none of them comfort him. So finally, specifically, he's like, "I want Catskinella to make me a cake." When they come and tell her that, she's like, "Why should I?" But then she's like, "He gave me a job. I'll make a cake for him." So remember that ring she got? Well, she purposely puts it in the batter and bakes it in the cake, and it's taken to the prince. Once he finds it, in very glass slipper fashion, he says, "I'm gonna marry whoever fits this ring." But obviously he knows whose ring it is. Maybe he just likes drama. So none of the women of the kingdom can fit the ring on their finger, and finally they bring in Catskinella, and he's like, "Try this on," and she does, and then she says, "Well, that was easy. This is my ring." Then she shimmers and shakes, and her catskin dress turns into a beautiful golden gown. The prince says, "Will you marry me, Ella?" And she's like, "Yeah, I will marry you." And they get married and live happily ever after. It's a very cool twist, not just on the donkey skin sort of stories, but obviously Cinderella. According to a note by the author, African American storytellers often utilize cats in their stories. And they are often associated with magic and with witches who can turn back and forth to cats, who keep them as familiars. But the mirror is the coolest part of this. It's also a fairy tale motif, having magic mirrors, particularly the one we're most familiar with in Snow White. But this one's super cool because it reflects Catskinella's wishes and helps her escape a place she doesn't want to be in and find her own destiny, which is the beauty of all Cinderella stories and why that is one of the most common stories you can find in literally every culture there ever was, which is so cool. As always, check out my book, which is a reimagining of another fairy tale, The 12 Dancing Princesses, set in the Dust Bowl with murder, revenge, and ghosts and moonshine and sisters. And of course, my podcast. All the links are in the bio.